The biggest secret to success isn't found in books or bank accounts or business cards. It's not wrapped in titles or trophies or trending posts. It lives inside you. It's been whispering to you since you were a child, before the world told you who you had to be, before rejection, disappointment, failure and fear ever wrapped themselves around your dreams. The biggest secret to success is your willingness to keep going when you feel unseen, your capacity to believe in something greater than your current circumstances, your courage to get back up even after being knocked down by life again. And again, it's not in how many wins you stack, it's in how many times you're willing to rise after the fall. It's in how many times you look yourself in the mirror, tired, scared, unsure, and still say, I'm not done yet. Success is not reserved for the lucky or the chosen. It belongs to the consistent, the courageous, the committed. It belongs to the one who's willing to be misunderstood while chasing a vision that no one else can see. It belongs to the woman who shows up when no one claps, to the man who dares to dream in silence while the world watches and waits for him to quit, to the single mom who uses her lunch break to build her business from her phone, to the student who studies by flashlight while their family sleeps, to the visionary who's laughed at for thinking too big, for wanting too much. Believing they're worthy of more success belongs to the soul that refuses to shrink, that refuses to settle, that says, I will not die with my dreams still buried inside me. And it's not always pretty, it's not always glamorous. Sometimes success looks like tears on your keyboard at midnight, like showing up to the gym with nothing left in your tank but a whisper of self-respect, like making one more call after hearing 50 no's, like being broke but not broken, discouraged but not defeated. Sometimes success looks like sitting alone at a table you had to build yourself, waiting for the right people to come, not begging for company from those who don't respect your worth. It looks like holding the line when your knees are shaking, like staying silent when your pride wants to speak, like walking away from what's good to wait for what's great, like investing in yourself when your bank account says you can't, like believing in your vision when your results haven't caught up yet. And let me tell you, the world will try to distract you, to convince you that success is in the spotlight, in the applause, in the attention, but the real secret. It's in the shadows, it's in the discipline you choose when no one is watching. It's in the habits that nobody claps for, the sacrifices that don't make headlines, the nights you want to quit but choose to stay the course. And yes, the journey is hard, yes, the cost is high, but you've got to ask yourself, is the pain of staying stuck greater than the pain of growing? Because success will demand that you let go of who you were to become who you were born to be. And that process is not gentle, it's not easy, it's not quick, but it is sacred, and it is yours if you're willing to hold vision longer than most people are willing to look, if you're willing to believe in yourself before you see the evidence, if you're willing to stand in the gap between who you are and who you're becoming and say, I may not be there yet, but I'm on my way. And that's where most people give up, not because they're weak, but because they've been conditioned to believe that if it doesn't happen fast, it won't happen at all. But baby, what's fast is rarely fulfilling, and what's fulfilling rarely comes fast. So give yourself the gift of time, the grace to evolve, the patience to build something real, something rooted, something that will last, because success is not about having it all. It's about becoming all you were created to be. And the biggest secret is that you already have what it takes. It's already in you. It's not in someone else's program or platform. It's not in waiting for the perfect moment. It's in starting with what you have, where you are, with who you are, and being willing to grow from there. It's in the radical decision to believe that you matter, that your voice matters, that your dreams matter, and that you were not placed on this earth to play small, to play safe, to play invisible. You were placed here to shake things up, to be light in dark places, to rise after being pushed down, to inspire not by being perfect, but by being persistent, to teach not from the mountaintop, but from the climb. And when you realize that success isn't something you chase, but something you become, you stop waiting for permission and start walking in purpose. You stop hiding behind fear and start living in faith. You stop wondering if you're enough and start acting like you are. And the truth is, success doesn't come to those who need it most. It comes to those who refuse to quit, to those who keep planting seeds even when the harvest is slow, to those who understand that what you water will grow, even if it takes longer than you expected, even if the world forgets to acknowledge it. Because true success is deeply personal, deeply spiritual, deeply intentional. It's the alignment between your soul and your actions, the moment when your passion meets your perseverance and births purpose. And that kind of success cannot be bought, it cannot be faked, it cannot be stolen. And once you taste it, once you feel joy of showing up for yourself, the peace that comes from living with integrity, the confidence that comes from honoring your calling. You'll stop settling, you'll stop seeking shortcuts, and you'll start building the life that was meant for you all along. Because once you start walking in the direction of your calling, you begin to understand that success isn't about outrunning anyone else. It's about outgrowing the parts of yourself that believed you weren't worthy of more. It's about shedding the skin of your old limitations and stepping fully into the skin of your new identity, one that doesn't apologize for shining, one that doesn't second guess her worth or his value, one that doesn't play small to make other people feel comfortable. And I know you might feel like you've wasted time, like you've missed too many chances, like too much damage has been done, but let me tell you something powerful. You are not too late. You are right on time for your next breakthrough, your next chapter, your next level of excellence. And sometimes the delay wasn't punishment, it was preparation. Sometimes the pause wasn't rejection, it was redirection. Sometimes God had to hide you, grow you, stretch you, because what's coming required a version of you that could carry it with grace, not ego, with humility, not hustle. And that version of you is emerging now, day by day, with every step you take away from who you thought you had. Be and toward who you truly are, because success is not about striving. It's about aligning. It's about being in agreement with your assignment. And when you align with purpose, doors open, not because you forced them, but because you were prepared for them, not because you chased after them. Because you became someone who attracted them, and people will look at you and say it happened overnight. But they didn't see the nights you cried yourself to sleep, the mornings you wanted to stay in bed, the moments you questioned everything, the sacrifices you made in silence. They didn't see the days you kept smiling even when you were barely holding on. The days you chose faith over fear even when both were screaming in your ear. But all of that matters. Every single choice, every single yes to your growth, every single no to your distractions. It built something inside of you that no degree, no title, no follow account could ever give you. It built character, and character will carry you where talent can't. Character will protect you when pressure comes. Character will remind you who you are when the world tries to tell you otherwise, because the truth is, success without character is noise, it's hollow, it's temporary. But when your success is built on a foundation of integrity, of service, of love, baby, that kind of success can't be shaken, it can't be stripped. It's the kind that blesses others as it blesses you. It's the kind that wakes you up in the morning with peace, not pressure. And I need you to understand that your success has nothing to do with how fast you move, and everything to do with how deep you're willing to go, how honest you're willing to be, how many times you're willing to look at your own reflection and say, let's grow. Even when growth hurts, even when growth costs you, even when it means leaving behind people, habits, and environments that feel familiar but no longer serve your future. And I know it's not easy. I know it's not convenient. I know that becoming the best version of yourself can feel lonely. But that loneliness is not evidence that you're on the wrong path. It's proof that you're being set apart, elevated, refined, so that when you rise for real, not just for a moment, not just for a photo op, but for a lifetime, for a legacy, for the lives you're meant to impact. Because success is not the goal, impact is, contribution is, transformation is. And when you show up in a room, it shouldn't just be your presence that turns heads. It should be your energy, your truth, your light. And that light is born from the fire, from the process, from the storms that tried to break you but couldn't touch the core of who you are. And that's the real secret. Success isn't about escaping the fire. It's about learning how to walk through it without losing your soul, learning how to lead without manipulating, how to build without betraying yourself, how to rise without stepping on anyone else. And when you live like that, when you love like that, when you serve like that, you become unstoppable. Not because you're invincible, but because you're authentic, and authenticity is your superpower. Your truth is your currency. Your heart is your compass. And if you keep following that, if you keep trusting your process, if you keep honoring your path, even when it's slow, even when it's lonely, even when it doesn't look like what you expected, you will not only achieve success, you'll define it, you'll model it, you'll teach it, and you'll do it in a way that leaves this world better than you found it. Because the truth is, when you stop chasing success and start living as if you already are it, as if you already carry the seed of everything you desire, something radical happens inside of you. You stop waiting for validation and start operating from vision. You stop begging for opportunity and start becoming the opportunity. You stop wondering if you belong and start owning the room you walk into. And it doesn't mean there won't be days where your knees shake, where your old wounds whisper lies to you, where doubt creeps in wearing the mask of logic and fear dresses up as caution. But now you've learned how to recognize the voices that aren't rooted in your purpose. Now you've learned how to speak life over yourself when no one else does. Now you've learned that your value isn't tied to productivity or popularity or profit. It's tied to your ability to stay in alignment, to stay in integrity, to stay in love, and the deeper you go into that truth, the more success becomes a natural byproduct of your authenticity, not a prize for pretending to be someone you're not, because real success isn't sustainable if it costs you your peace, if it demands that you shrink, that you sacrifice your soul, that you silence your truth to keep others comfortable, and too many people are out here building empires on the sand of insecurity and approval addiction. But baby, you were born to build on rock, on truth, on God, on grit, on the kind of trust that doesn't waver when the storms come. And they will come, make no mistake about that. The storms will test you, the wind will try to shake you, the rain will come down hard. But if your foundation is solid, if your intention is pure, if your belief is unshakable, then not only will you withstand the storm, you'll rise stronger, clearer, more resilient, and more powerful than ever before. And that's what success is really about. It's not about what you acquire, it's about what you survive and how you rise after the breaking, how you stand in the aftermath and still speak life, still dream, still build, still serve, still love, still show up. And sometimes success means letting go of the timeline you thought you had to follow, the plan you clung to, the path you mapped out before you ever knew what you were made of. Because now you know you're not here to follow a script. You're here to write your own. To carve your own way, to become the blueprint that others will one day follow, not because you were the loudest in the room, but because you were the most consistent, the most healed, the most aligned, and people can feel that. They can feel when your energy is rooted in truth. They can feel when your presence is anchored in purpose, and that's when the doors open, not because you forced them, but because the frequency of your life matched the future you were praying for. And I need you to know this. There is no amount of money, fame, followers, or applause that can give you what inner peace gives you, what self-trust gives you, what living in your divine assignment gives you. So don't chase empty success that only looks good on paper. Chase the kind that feels good in your spirit, that aligns with your legacy, that blesses your children and your children's children. And if that means it takes longer, let it take longer. If that means you have to say no more often, say no more often. If that means fewer people clap while you grow, let them be quiet. Because when your time comes, they won't be able to ignore the power of what you've built. And not because it's flashy, but because it's real, because it's rooted, because it was born out of something deeper than performance. It was born out of purpose. And when you live like that, when you choose alignment over applause, character over clout, calling over comfort, that's when you step into a success that no man can take, no critic can shake, no loss can break, because it's not built on the outside. It's been forged on the inside. And once you realize that the biggest secret to success is not what you do, but who you choose to become while you're doing it, you begin to shift from chasing to attracting, from striving to aligning, from proving to simply being. And when that shift happens, when you stop operating from lack and start moving in abundance, when you stop waiting to be chosen and choose yourself, when you stop asking for permission and start owning your presence, everything begins to shift around you too, because success doesn't respond to desperation. It responds to authenticity, to clarity, to resilience. The kind of conviction that says, even if no one claps, I'm still going to rise. And you don't need everyone to get it. You don't need everyone to believe in you, because sometimes the belief has to start with just one. Just you. And that one belief, that seed, that whisper, that quiet fire burning in your chest, that's more than enough if you protect it, if you feed it, if you fan it. And it's okay if some days that fire feels small, if it flickers, if it dims, because success is not about being on fire every single day. It's about staying lit, staying alive, staying faithful even when your flame is low. And sometimes success is simply keeping your eyes on the horizon. When your heart is breaking, showing up for yourself when everyone else disappears, choosing to believe that your story isn't over, that your past is not your prophecy, and that your pain is not your prison, it's your platform. And when you let your pain speak truth and not bitterness, when you let Your wounds become windows that let light through when you use your struggle as your strength. That's when you stop performing and start transforming. And transformation is the real success, because it's not about having what others have. It's about becoming who you were always meant to be. And yes, that road is rocky, and yes, that climb is steep. And yes, there will be days where you want to go back to comfort, to old patterns, to what's predictable. But you've come too far to go back now. You've seen too much, grown too much, endured too much to shrink again, to dim again, to settle again. And the truth is, real success asks for real sacrifice. For you to say no to what's good so you can say yes to what's great. For you to be willing to disappoint others before you abandon yourself. For you to live so aligned that even when you lose, you still feel whole. Even when you're unseen, you still feel seen, because the success you're building is not fragile. It's forged, it's weathered, it's resilient, and that kind of success is magnetic, not because it's loud, but because it's rooted, because it's honest, because it carries peace in its stride and purpose in its breath. And when you walk into a room like that, whole, healed, humble, there's no mistaking that your presence was earned, that your growth was intentional, and that your joy was built from the ground up, not handed to you but cultivated by you. And baby, when you live like that, when you show up like that, when you love yourself like that, the world doesn't just notice. You begin to change the atmosphere around you, because success is not something you get. It's something you give, it's something you radiate, it's something you carry even in silence, even in storms, and it doesn't always look the way you imagined, but it always feels like truth, like freedom, like home. Because when you finally understand that the biggest secret to success is remembering who you were before the world told you who to be, you start peeling back the layers of false expectations, of inherited fear, of cultural noise and past pain, and you get real with yourself. Not just the version of you that smiles in front of people, not just the version of you that checks all the boxes and posts all the highlights, but the you that cries in the dark and doubts in silence. The you that's been waiting for permission to exhale, to be seen, to be loved without condition. And when you get honest with that part of you, something divine happens. Clarity comes rushing in like a wave. Purpose becomes undeniable. Your truth becomes louder than your fear. And suddenly success isn't about climbing some imaginary ladder, it's about grounding yourself in who you truly are and building from there, brick by brick, breath by breath, day by day. And yes, there will still be setbacks, yes. There will still be rejection, yes. People will still misunderstand your journey. But you'll stop internalizing that. You'll stop seeing those things as signs to quit and start seeing them as tools. Build your resilience, because the real ones, the ones who rise and stay risen, are the ones who learn how to keep standing even when no one offers a hand. The ones who learn how to clap for themselves in rooms where they're ignored. The ones who choose discipline over drama, legacy over likes, contribution over comparison. And it won't always be glamorous. It won't always make sense to the people around you, but you weren't called to make sense. You were called to make change. You weren't born to blend in. You were born to stand out, and not because you're louder or better or more perfect, but because you're willing to be more honest, more authentic, more consistent. And baby, that consistency is the secret sauce nobody wants to talk about, because consistency ain't cute, it's not flashy, it doesn't get applause, but it builds the kind of success that lasts, the kind that doesn't crack when pressure hits, the kind that doesn't fade when the season shifts, the kind that sustains your joy and multiplies your impact. And the moment you commit to showing up fully, even when you don't feel like it, even when it's hard, even when it's quiet, is the moment success starts showing up for you in ways you never expected. Because success will always find the one who refuses to fold, who refuses to fake it, who refuses to wait until they feel ready, and decides instead to move now, grow now, serve now, love now. And if that's you, then hear me when I say, you're not waiting on success. Success is waiting on you to recognize that you already have everything you need inside you, that the gifts you were born with weren't random. They were intentional, and the story you've lived wasn't punishment. It was preparation, and the pain you've carried wasn't to break you. It was to build you into someone who can walk in rooms with power, lead with compassion, speak with authority, and love without fear. And I know it hasn't been easy. I know some chapters nearly took you out. I know you've had moments where you thought, maybe I'm not meant for this. But if you're still breathing, then purpose is still alive in you. And if purpose is still alive in you, then baby, it's never too late to begin again, to dream again, to rise again. Not as who you were, but as who you're becoming.